Welcome to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. I'm your host today, Coach Brandy, and I'm here with Coach Jolie and Coach Adam. How's it going today?
It's good. Just finished our morning shift.
Yeah.
Lower body, feeling good.
Good. Lower body workouts are always tough, but so important. We did a podcast not too far back on leg day and the importance of leg day. So refer to that podcast on why not to skip leg day and the importance of it. But today we have a podcast talking about the power of protein, the importance of protein, and strategies around how you can get more protein throughout the day and why that's so important. Before we jump into that, though, we have a client of the week. And Adam, you want to let everyone know who that is?
Our client of the week is Ralph Wilson. He is a machine. He's killing it. He mixes up mornings and afternoons. So he's, we're going to have a podcast coming up on making sure to do your best to get your 1 hour workout in a day. And he's really good at that. Whenever he can get it in, he tries to. And he just had an awesome strength phase, at least for sure. It's always a highlight to watch him do his hip bridging, which is like 500 and something pounds. So that's always fun. He gets fired up for it. And I know he comes in and really gets after it. And it kind of rubs off on other people. I think they kind of they like his work ethic and they try to emulate that too. So yeah, he's awesome.
He has great energy, and you're right. It's contagious to everyone around him. Yeah, as a coach, it's really fun to coach someone with really good energy like that, too. Yeah. Keep going, Ralph. Keep pushing yourself and everyone else around you. It's awesome. Okay, let's dive into this topic. I feel like protein is one of the things that people ask me the most about in terms of how can they get more protein worked into their day. I also hear a lot about how hard it is for people to get their protein goal. So we're going to talk about strategies for how you can do that. But I think it's really important that we're talking about this because someone could come in and, work really hard in the gym and they may be training for weeks and months and feel like they're not seeing the results that they want to see. And in fact, we've seen this with our in-body results. We'll have someone come in and maybe in the first couple of weeks, they're seeing some good progress, but then that progress kind of levels out and they're not seeing progress over time. And I think the one thing people can add to see progress is eating more protein. If you just do that one thing, add more protein to your day, you'll start to see those numbers on the in-body change, your body composition change, starting to gain more skeletal muscle mass. So what is it about protein and skeletal muscle mass? Why is that so important?
Me? All right. So basically what happens when you come here to the gym is you are creating, or the goal is to create, micro tears in your muscle with the plan or the intention of coming back and building them stronger to both increase strength and size in your lean muscle mass. So protein are the building blocks to doing that. And it starts on a smaller level with your amino acids. So you have your amino acids those are the building blocks of protein. And to be able to get a sufficient amount is important because there's a whole different area where, carbohydrates is our main source of energy. And you need, good, daily intake to be able to go throughout your day with energy, especially if you're exercising, you need enough so that your body doesn't start to tap into those protein storages for energy itself, because it will do that kind of secondary to using the carbohydrates. So I think it is important to obviously keep the protein number high. You're looking for at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. And if you have goals of, increasing muscle mass or just trying to even, I know like some men especially that trying to put on weight, they've always struggled with that maybe. Really bumping that number up even above that body weight number. It kind of keeps the other macros in check as well, but having that kind of good balance between the the carbs, the proteins, and the fats, and just understanding that not only is the protein good for the building blocks for lean muscle mass, but it is incorporated in your energy system as well. And we just don't want to take from that protein number. So making sure you have your carbs and your fats in good numbers as well is important.
Yeah, and I think in addition to that, yes, protein is the building block for muscle. I mean, our muscles are those amino acids that are built from the protein that we eat. But I think in addition to that, protein is very satiating. So a lot of times when people bump their protein up, then sometimes we'll see a calorie deficit just because of that. So if someone is trying to lose weight and gain skeletal muscle mass, a good strategy is to bump up the amount of protein that you're eating on a daily basis, because then you're going to feel a lot more full than you normally would if you're not having that additional protein. So it'll kind of crowd out those other things. Like if you feel like you're hungry at the end of the day and you want a snack, like if you have that protein throughout the day, you're going to feel less likely to want to snack at the end of the night. So that's another benefit of protein as well.
Exactly.
Julie, what are some strategies that you would recommend for someone on how to maybe start with baby steps on how to increase their overall protein intake?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you tell someone, okay, we need to up your protein, and then they start tracking and they're like, oh shoot, I'm getting 50 to 70 grams a day. How am I supposed to get my body weight? And or how am I supposed to essentially double that or eat more than that, right? And I think one of the biggest things that I've seen work for people is to kind of front load it in your morning and your breakfast, right? Which tends to be easier for most people to do. If you're a person who does a shake, or whether you do eggs and meat and toast, things like that in the morning, it tends to be easier to kind of go for like that 40 to 50 grams in breakfast and really start to front load that, because then you're essentially kind of taking some of the guesswork out of it for later in the day. Yep. And then just something similar to what you were saying is like, maybe we're cutting a little bit of the carb, not out, but we're adding a little bit more protein in and taking some of that complex carbohydrate out, so that you're feeling more satiated, you're feeling stronger in your workouts and things like that. So people can actually feel the results too, instead of just being like, oh man, how much do I have to eat, and getting stressed about the actual amount. I think people are really surprised to be like, oh, it's actually not that much more that I need to be doing. It's just, a little quick swap.
Yeah, to that front loading comment, I agree, because I think it becomes more of like a daunting task when you're trying to play catch up later in the day. So, it's like maybe 2-3 o'clock comes around and you're still like 100 to 110 grams short. You're like, day's running out, having to eat a lot here late in the day, especially, if you want to, have a good meal well in advance of going to bed and things like that. I think, kind of looking at the day like a timeline is kind of important. Yeah, loading it up in the front, and then it's going to have the ripple effect that we've been talking about on the rest of your diet for the day.
Yeah, I think both of you mentioned some really important things. Julie, you started with tracking. I think a lot of times people don't even know how much protein they're eating throughout the day. So I think number one is, first step, track how much you're currently eating, just to get kind of a framework from what your starting point is. And that can be really eye-opening. I mean, maybe for some people, they're eating a lot less than they thought they were. Maybe you're eating more grams of protein than you thought you were. And then Adam, you mentioned getting a gram of protein per pound of body weight, or ideal body weight. Yeah. So if someone's trying to lose a bunch of weight, then it might be that total grams of protein per ideal body weight. And then breaking that down throughout the day. I think after tracking, from my perspective, the number two most important thing is planning ahead. Yeah. If you don't plan your day for how you're going to get your protein, it might be really hard to get your protein. So I think it's really important to plan ahead, and to know, like, if you are going to front load your protein, know in advance, like, what does that look like? What does your breakfast look like? And then think about the meals that you're going to have during the day. And then if you can try to get a minimum of 30 grams of protein in every meal, and maybe you're front loading with a little bit more, and then the other meals and snacks have at least 30 grams of protein in them, you're going to be pretty close to meeting that protein goal by the end of the day. As long as you're doing planning and you have the protein in the, in the house or with you, if you're traveling, you're at work, you have that with you and you're ready and you're prepared, then it's going to be much easier to meet your protein goal.
Yeah, just that little bit of extra like over preparation, it's going to save time and effort, as like life's busy every day, everything will just fall into place if you plan well.
Yep. So plan well, track your protein intake. And then I have a list of like top 5 animal-based like foods that have the highest amount of protein, top 5 plant-based foods that have the most protein, and then some snack ideas. So I'll just run through those really quick. So for animal-based protein, chicken breast has about 31 grams of protein per 100 grams. Then tuna would be next, and then turkey breast, lean beef, and then eggs. And egg whites can be a good strategy for adding in more protein as well. Right. So one egg is not going to cut it if you're trying to get 30 grams of protein, but if you have, 1 or 2 full eggs and like 3 egg whites, then you're going to meet that protein goal. For plant-based foods with the most protein, I get asked a lot about this as well. If someone's plant-based or vegetarian, like how do they meet their protein goal? It's definitely more challenging, but it can be done as long as you plan ahead. Tempeh has about 19 grams of protein. You can get protein through lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and quinoa. And tofu has a good amount of protein as well. So those are some of the higher plant-based protein sources that you can incorporate throughout your day. And I think it's, my philosophy is, to incorporate the plant and the animal-based proteins. Everyone's diet is a little bit different. I don't think there's a wrong way or a right way, but I think if you combine the two, then you'll be able to get there. And then some just snack ideas. Protein shake, that's, a pretty easy way to get your protein in. Usually most protein shakes are somewhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein with 1 scoop of protein powder. You can get quite a bit of protein through Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, jerky, protein bars. Yeah. What are some other like go-to things that you guys are reaching for to meet your own protein goals?
I just try to keep in mind, kind of like you were saying with the integration of the plant and the animal. It's like what I've worked with athletes before or something like that. Any decision that you make, if you're going to have the chicken and rice route, think of ways to incorporate, like rice with quinoa in it is going to taste exactly the same, and you're not going to really even notice that quinoa if you're like, I'm not a quinoa guy. Yeah. Like it's just in there and you're just bumping that number up even higher. Yes. So I think that incorporation is important, and just kind of keeping like a running number in your head. There's really easy things like getting like frozen edamame, like things that you wouldn't, look up lists of protein things that you can just have easy, ready to go like that. And then find a protein shake. So many of them are already made or prepackaged and stuff like that. Find a protein shake or a recipe that you like. If you find something like 1 or 2 options that you like and that's just go-to, it should be easy, if not like a sweet treat each day to like look forward to, if you can make like a solid protein shake. Because for a while, like me personally, I struggled finding something that I like just the taste wise. And sometimes all of the, the prepackaged ones, sometimes they're not great or whatever. But finding a good recipe that you can like rely on and you look forward to making is pretty big, because it can be a big chunk of your protein if you're having, a double scoop, and that's like 50 to 60 right there grams. Yeah. So that's what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of making it easier on yourself, especially if you find like you're a person who in the afternoon you're like, I need a snack, I want to reach for something, like, and you're either, at work, whether it's like a cabinet or you're reaching in your bag, like make sure you have it's kind of like what Adam was saying, like if you have a bar and you like that brand, stock up on it, stock up on a type of jerky or something that you know that you can reach for, and you're not just going to reach for the bag of chips or that carbohydrate to kind of just go for the energy. Make sure that, you know, you're being prepared about it.
Right. Going back to the planning piece, like plan ahead. One hack that I've found really interesting lately is, using AI to help with getting your protein goal. So I tried this out today. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I took I opened up ChatGPT and I took a picture I opened up my refrigerator and I used my camera, took a picture of what was in my refrigerator, and I just put that picture in ChatGPT and I said, give me a meal that's high in protein. And that's all I said.
Oh, shoot.
It was unbelievable. Like, it gave me a recipe for like what I could make for breakfast that was in my fridge. And it even included things like, it said, it looks like you have a glass container that has shredded chicken in it. So you could use that. And I did not tell it what was in that glass container. Like, it just knew. So that's a tool that people can use, like with food that you currently have in your refrigerator or your pantry, or you can use it as a tool. Like, if you're not sure, you're going to the grocery store and you want some snack ideas or some high protein, easy meal ideas, like, use AI as a tool to help you plan if you feel really stuck.
I feel like there's like that whole creativity or just kind of outside the box thinking that we can just fall into the habitual, diet and we eat what we like to eat and all this stuff. But, there's things that we don't eat that we probably don't realize we would enjoy. So I think being able to, you don't think like, I'm going to go to the store and, pick up a bunch of things that I don't just know I'm throwing into my cart every time, because then like your spectrum just broadens and you just open up so many more like meal possibilities and stuff. So I think that sometimes that creativity piece is missing, and that could make it even easier to, you get more sources of protein and other types of enjoyable food. So yeah, that's a good idea.
And I think too, making it really easy is important. So I'm a real big fan of large batch cooking, whether it's like sheet pan cooking. And if I'm going to make chicken for dinner one night, I'm going to throw 4 or 5 chicken breasts on that sheet pan and have dinner for the next 3 nights. Yeah. So you cook once and then you have 3 or 4 meals, or the crock pot, or, whatever it is, where you can, cook once and then have food for the next few days that's already ready for you. And all you have to do is grab and go and you're set. And that's really helpful in getting your protein goals in. Yeah.
Eat your leftovers.
That's right. Don't be afraid to eat your leftovers. Okay. All right, guys. That's all we have for you. We'll catch you in our next podcast. Get your protein in.
Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. Do you have a question that you'd like for us to answer live on the podcast? If so, all you need to do is head over to the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone and do 3 simple things. First, leave us a rating and review telling me what you think of the podcast. In that review, ask anything you want related to health, fitness, or nutrition. And if you want a shout out, leave us your Instagram handle or name. That's all you have to do. Then listen to hear your questions answered live on the next Q&A episode.